Hey, it's Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, where I work for you guys. Band of the People is what I like to claim the title of, which means if you have questions, please always submit them, leave a comment, shoot me a direct message, any way that you can get in touch with me. Please do so because I love working for you guys. So today was the final preseason game of the week. Carolina Panthers took on the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Final score on this one was way too little to way too much, also known as Pittsburgh Steelers 9, Carolina Panthers 34. Highest scoring game for the offenses preseason by far. In my opinion, I want to say there's a caveat to it. Pittsburgh Steelers were one of the, I think maybe two teams, but they played 4 games this preseason. Most teams only played 3. Tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't play any of their starters, so you had our ones the first half going up against their 2s and 3s. Or mostly their 2s in that first half. So a little unbalanced in that way. And to me, that showed in this game with that final outcome of that score. And also, I'm going to show you the stats here in a little bit, which shows, yeah, things were pretty uneven the entire game. But we have a lot of good things that we want to talk about, or interesting things that I want to talk about before we get off of here. One little tidbit I'll tell you. I did a video yesterday. Looks like YouTube, for some reason, didn't fully take that video. So if you missed it, I'm going to re-upload it so you can watch it in its entirety. Nice little video I did about the trades that the Panthers made this week and going over some details of the cap implications of those trades. So look for that. And also, I'm happy to report when you wake up tomorrow, if you're watching this after August 27th, your boy will be fully vaccinated, which means you will now see me at the stadium talking to players, bringing you some more action from the field, which I cannot wait to do. So without further ado, after the game, Carolina Panthers, of course, brought Matt Rule to the press conference to address the media. And no surprise, he was asked about the Joey Sly and Santoso competition. And he said that, he was impressed with Santoso. Just flew in yesterday with only his cleats, probably staying at the hotel the team provides all players. Didn't get in any practice. And came out there today, of course, got some practice before game with J.J. Jansen and the placeholder. And to come out and make a 52-yard field goal was impressive. But he says that he's not yet ready to make a decision on that. Doesn't know when they'll make that decision. Obviously, doesn't have too much time because Monday is the roster countdown. But he said tomorrow morning, pretty early, him and the GM will get together and start talking about those things. As far as the game overall, was happy about the fact that we had 3 takeaways, didn't give the ball away at all. So anytime you win a turnover battle, that's pretty good for your team. So that was awesome to see. And we had few penalties. So anytime you have few penalties, that's pretty good as well. Just spoke about the progression of this team earlier on in the preseason, where we did have fewer turnovers, or we were giving away turnovers, and we were having more penalties. So it was really good to see that trimmed down. No updates on the injuries, but we did have 2 players that left the game with injuries today. I'm going to be mad at myself if I don't have that information in front of me, because I know I should. Okay, yes. Injuries were to wide receiver Shi Smith. He left the game, did not return. He had a shoulder injury. And then also we had our running back, Darius Clark, out with the knee as well. And you know what? I have a new feature on here that I had going yesterday. I didn't get going. So let me see if I can get this going real quick. Forgot to look at you guys' comments. So, it's always an interactive show. You have not hit the bell notification, but it's great if you subscribe. But it's even better if you hit that bell notification, because that way you will get to see when I'm going live and you can get to interact with me, as I love for everyone to do. Let's see here if I can get this going really quick. Looks like I can't even get this going tonight. Let's see here. There we go. See if I can pull this up. There we go, there we go, there we go. Actually, let me do one more thing here to try to get this to work like I want it to work. Hmm. Let's see how this works here. All right, all right. So I think I got this comments thing working, and I do see some comments coming through, so I'm going to address those here in just a second. Always appreciate you guys' comments. I say guys as a habit, but I appreciate everyone's comments, male and female. So let me bring up the rest of my notes here so I can continue to go through this. So I got some topics that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into your comments that you guys have been so graciously leaving for me to talk about. So first thing we are going to talk about is, ta-da, I'm going to talk about how the quarterbacks fared tonight, and will we keep all three or not? That's a good question. So first up tonight was quarterback Sam Darnold. First time we got to see him for an extended period of time, and in my opinion, he played pretty solid. I was happy with his performance tonight. You did see a few throws that looked like, what is he doing? But his first game getting a lot of action, so I'm not going to be upset about that. I know one play that I would say was a bad play, and that he was under pressure, went to get rid of the ball, but he was clearly in the grasp, and some bad things could have happened. Unfortunately, it was not a turnover, but that was the one bad play that I would say that he did tonight. I think everything else pretty happy about. He was 19 of 25, had a 119 passer rating, which is pretty darn good. Had two touchdowns and no interceptions. So I think very solid play from Sam Darnold tonight. PJ Walker was next up, and PJ didn't look as great as he did the 2 games ago, but he also had some drop passes from his receivers. I think it was, let me see if I put it in my notes, but I know one receiver, it was 2 drops and 1 possession for him. Looked like Zystra was the recipient of some drop passes from P.J. Walker, which, hurt him there in that category on the stat side. It could have been 7 for 10. A lot better looking performance had that had to happen with the lack of drop passes there with P.J. Walker. Will Greer came in, and he did pretty well. I was impressed with Will Greer's scrambling. And I think this guy has gotten a lot better than he was in previous years. I didn't see anything that looked like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? And some of his scrambling abilities, including that run for the touchdown, to me was a lot of growth, pretty impressive. And I really think that he put himself in a great position to stay on his team and for these guys to keep 3 quarterbacks. Not predicting that, but I feel like both of these guys put themselves in a pretty good position. But I feel like that P.J. Walker is our number 2 guy behind Sam Darnold. So that's my opinion on how the quarterbacks fared this evening. We'll keep on moving along. And again, if you guys are typing your questions, please keep typing them. I promise you this broadcast will not end without me addressing those comments. Let's go ahead and talk about, did I click on it? Give me a second. I knew that was going to happen. Well, I just killed the graphic. I'm not going to take the time to pull it back up. But let's talk about how the kickers fared. All right. So I don't know if you saw the graphic with this video, but it was a graphic of Santoso kicking a field goal. He was the first one up. He kicked the field goal that was 52 yards, and it was good. Next attempt was for Joey Sly. It was from 49 yards, and it went wide right, which coincidentally, I haven't gone back and looked at the tape, but I feel like all of his field goals that he's missed this preseason have been, oh man, my shoulder, have been, wow, that hurt, have been wide right. So, personally, I've talked to this guy several times. I like him as a person. Professionally speaking, I really feel like his job is in jeopardy. They could want to keep Joey Sly because of his very strong leg and the obvious indication that this is something mentally going on with him, and can he get over it? I would say on the bad end for Joey, professionally speaking, they only have 1 year into him. So he still doesn't have a lot of deep trust and deep, like, I know this guy can persevere and get through this kind of thing. You know, I think the coaches can legitimately wonder, would a change in scenery, which they said, you know, they supported Greg Little in that, if that would help him get out of this rut in his young career and go ahead and keep Santoso, which seems to be doing just fine right now for the team. So as I talk through that, talking to you guys, I like it in terms of, I feel like that's something that could happen now. Could be surprised. Nevertheless, keep your locked to YouTube, keep your notifications on, because this weekend, you know, roster changes should start to take place. I'm not going to go live every single time that there's a transaction, but once we have a nice group, and you can look for some daily videos from me updating that roster. Another observation, since I did not destroy the graphic, Brian Burns, Spider-Man, I think he looked pretty good tonight. He had an interception. He had some pressures on the quarterback, and even one time looked like he was held for sure in getting to the quarterback, and even had a tackle for a loss. So it was great to see Brian Burns continuing to build on the excellence that he's had pretty much ever since he's been on the team. Has a larger supporting cast now with some acquisitions in the offseason. So this defense, it's looking pretty solid, looking pretty good. All right, so that concludes. No, I want to go over one more thing. Sorry, I'm out of place with this. At the top of the story, I talked about the stats as a team looking pretty lopsided, and Steelers didn't play any of their starters. But here's a close look at how lopsided this game was. You see here, we had 25 first downs. They had 9. We had 404 total yards to their 221. Yeah, really just looking pretty bad in terms of the Steelers not having much going for them tonight. And another graphic here I want to point out. Oh, I don't think it's on here. You guys are welcome to soak in this graphic. But time of possession for the Carolina Panthers was almost twice of that for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you know what? I'm happy, because you could say we played their twos and we barely won the game. That didn't happen. We played their twos and we won decisively. So I appreciate that. And there was one other thought that I had about this game that was coming to mind. My shoulder's hurting me that I can't think of. What is it? Man, I can't think. It doesn't come to mind. It slipped my mind. So that's all for my monologue. Now let's get on to some comments from you guys, all right? Let's see if I can get this right the first time. There you go. Hamtastic says, do you see us keeping 3 quarterbacks? And yes, I see us keeping 3 quarterbacks. Will Greer, I think, did pretty darn good tonight, and showed some good mobility, showed some good toughness when he ran for that touchdown, not being afraid of contact. And, you know, with COVID giving us players, COVID is going to put some players in jeopardy of missing some time. When you have that extra quarterback, I think that bodes well. So I feel like it's a pretty fair chance. I'm not going to say definite, but I feel like it's a pretty fair chance. And got to put this out there, because once again, yes, I'm excited. I'm vaccinated as of tomorrow. My 2 weeks will be up, and I will be able to be at the stadium, be in the locker room. Well, no media is allowed in the locker room yet, but I'll be able to talk to these guys and get you all some more information. So excited about that. Tomorrow I will be vaccinated. You think they take the new kicker over Joey Sly? Yeah, I do. And then here's some praise for the team here from Leonard. Great to see the Panthers as a complete team today. Woohoo, let's go. Yes, it was pretty good to see that. Let me see. Alrighty. So this question just came in. Who will be the wide receiver you see us keeping? So I'm not one of those people that have made depth charts. So I know obviously I feel like Smith is a keeper. I feel like Marshall's a keeper, and then of course you got Anderson, and you have DJ Moore, so that's 4. Cannon is listed as a wide receiver, even though he's kind of like all over the place for us. Kickoff return. So I'm not sure if you count him in that receiver category. So that's up to 5. Man, I was really rooting for Omar Bayless, which some of you may say, who is that? He's a guy that was undrafted last year that was having a pretty good preseason, was making a name for himself, and got hurt. That injury allowed us to keep him on the team through the year, and he's made it through the first cuts, but I'm not sure he's going to make it. He might be able to get in as a practice squad player this year for us. So Zystra, yeah, I put Zystra in there. So that's looking like about 6, right? 6 guys that I see wide receivers as making it. So that's my take on that part right there. Let's see. I'll give you guys a second. David Moore. David Moore, I'll be honest, and I'm always an honest reporter with you guys. David Moore, I don't know who he is off the top of my head, so I would say probably not, even though I will also admit that I have not studied the roster completely. Let me take a look at who this guy is. I'll be honest when I don't know something, because you're never going to catch me saying, he was faking like he knew something that he didn't know. Nah, that won't happen. Yeah, David Moore. Yeah, he's a wide receiver out of East Central. Wow, I don't even know what East Central is. Been in the league for a number of years. Yeah, no thoughts on David Moore right now. But yeah, Zystra did have a couple of drops, and so. But I don't think Zystra has had a bad preseason. I don't think he's had a bad training camp. He did have that bad possession tonight. I don't think that's enough to take him out of the mix, considering what all he's been doing so far up until this point. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump off here. Again, I know we're going to have plenty more news and things like that to talk about over these next couple of days. The 53-man roster is going to be due on the 31st, which I strongly believe is Monday. Let me double click on my calendar to see. That is Tuesday. Is that the right date? And then the day after the 53-man roster cut, you'll have the practice squad that comes out. And then the day after that, you'll probably have a few more transactions. So next week looks to be a busy week, and I look forward to talking with you all and bringing you all the news that I will have concerning the Carolina Panthers. So as always, thanks for watching. I'm Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.